welcome to a whole new episode of your program Culture Magazine. Allow me to be your guide through a journey of diverse segments from culture, heritage, traditional and artistic works. And now, let's start our episode. Hello and welcome to a whole new episode of your program Culture Magazine. Allow me to be your guide through a journey of diverse segments from culture, heritage, traditional and artistic works. And now, let's start our episode.
Cairo Symphony Orchestra has succeeded in adding international compositions to its artistic repertoire and has organized many workshops for international trainers in addition to conducting successful artistic tours all over the world. It has been keen to present a series of diverse concerts that shed light on a group of the most important international compositions in addition to Egyptian compositions in the classical form.
This is my first time to come here for attending this concert in Cairo Opera House. I think this was a good performance. I think it will be good performance and it will be awesome. I think it will be amazing in so. I know from Taskarti. I looking for and search from website, so I decided to book ticket and then come here. I was then here. I come here to attend. I twice in here. Before that, in Revolution celebration of Egypt, I come here, attend here. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. So I come here twice. We have so many different culture about Indonesia and Egypt. So I like some culture in here, like give like in Ramadan, maybe in Ramadan, he like give food and drink. It's so beautiful moment. I think the famous of music in Indonesia is jazz, like jazz. This is we call like music song. We call, I don't know, who is it? Rizky Febian. Rizky Febian is the famous artist instrument in Indonesia.
In our program, we are always keen to shed the lights on the events that aims to revive our history and heritage. And now let's take a look on our next segment. Egypt is the country with the most history in the world, supporting one of the earliest civilizations in existence, which is not only a destination for tourists and Egyptologists, but also a topic that grabs the attention of museologists from different parts of the world, a legacy which can still be seen today in Egyptian museums. Within the modernity that we live in and the new terms when it comes to history and the science of museums, which is museology, the Bibliotheca Alexandria hosted a conference about the importance of Egyptian museums through different eras in terms of their existence as museums in the first place and not a place that has been converted into museums like many others in the world. Well, dear viewers, in this segment we are so delighted to be accompanied by Professor Andrea Lauria from Italy, who is teaching the history of museums and had been specialized in the Egyptian history of museums. Well, first of all, I'm going to welcome you in Knife TV International and of course in Cairo. Let's start right away. We need to know more about why did you choose the history of Egypt and how did it start your journey?
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you. 2 years ago, I have been invited here to teach at Harvard University. So during my stay and during my researches for my PhD, I have discovered that how the museums have started in Egypt before the Arab countries and, by the way, also in the African continent. So I decided to research more about it. And because I have started to research about it, I have also found out that nobody has researched it before. So I decided to focus my researches, and I found out that it was very interesting what happened in Egypt in the 19th century. Please.
So the idea of the conference is when you have like a goal of delivering a message or trying to knowledge people, but more about other history, other civilization, and since you come from Italy, so this is also so interesting for us.
Well, the reality is that the meaning of this conference was to let Egyptians understand, and they were Egyptians, you know, that they are working in the field, the value of the Egyptian museums. Because the problem of Egyptians is that they are not aware enough about their heritage, and museums are part of the heritage, but museums are not only part of the heritage, are part of the tourist business, tourist industry. So the museums are very important in a country such as Egypt that works a lot with the tourists. So the first part of the conference was about the history of the museums in the world, so how have been started in the Italian Renaissance, through the centuries till the modern museums and hyper museums. And then the second part was only on Egypt. So the first museum is the Greco-Roman Museum in Alexandria, that is basically the first museum that has been built for this purpose in the African continent and also in the Arab countries. So I can say that Arab museography has started in Egypt. So the goal was to let specialists understand how important are Egyptian museums.
When you did your research and you focused more on the civilization and our heritage, what was the first thing that astonished you? Like, what did stop you? We stop here, and then you took it from there.
Very good question. Usually people are interested in Egypt only because of the pyramids, and as I said yesterday, I agree that pyramids are great, but Egypt is not only pyramids, so I'm more interested in the modern history, so 19th century and 20th century in Egypt. And Egypt in the 19th century was extremely Westerner, not only because of the presence of the Westerners here in Egypt, but also because of the royal family, the Khedive dynasty, that they were you know, the roots were Albanians. They were the first. Mahmoud Ali was born in the territory that today is Greece. So they wanted Egypt to be Westerner or European. So the museums they have been designed at the end of the 19th century and the first decade of the 20th are part of this program to make Egypt Western in that time. So I was, yeah, I was really surprised that how here in that short period they have delivered such a very Westerner culture and also in the field of the museums.
You as a teacher, as a professor, what is the message or what are you so keen to deliver to your students and of course the inhale from your experience and whatever you've been through before reading or searching or doing that?
Well, you know, I have specialized in this field since my college time. My professor was museologist, and then I decided to, but museology is more focused on the collections, so I am a museographer focused on the architecture. So I wanted to study that, and I wanted to understand the evolution of the exhibition space through the centuries. Yeah, I like all the students to understand the meaning of the museums and also how important is the setup of the museum. One of the reasons, because I think that GEM is very cool, is this new way to present the Egyptian artifacts with this lighting that is very, you know, charming, with this artificial light that creates these effects. So they are more how can I say, intriguing to the young generations. About teaching, I teach only foreigners. I don't teach Italians because I teach at the American college in Italian, one but this in English program. You know, it's always interesting to see the different approaches and how the students understand the topic. I can teach also here, but I don't have a lot of experience with Egyptian students. For sure, they don't really understand the value of the museums, but sometimes also the adults don't understand the value of the museums. So that's something that I think it has to be introduced in the schools, the importance or the knowledge of the importance of the museums.
If you were chosen to be an ambassador and talk about museums in Egypt, what would you have the message you want to deliver to the whole world for people who have lack and knowing more about our history and civilization?
First of all, as I said also yesterday, but the message yesterday was delivered to Egyptians, it's a matter of advertisement. The problem is that if when you advertise this country, you show only camels and pyramids, people will always think that you have only camels and pyramids. And it's not true. There are many things that are very interesting in this country. So, but the problem is first, you have to deliver the message and to let people come to Egypt not only for pyramids, but also, for example, for the Civilization Museum, for the GEM, Grand Egyptian Museum, or other things that are also very interesting in Egypt. For example, it's not my field, but the Coptic monasteries are amazing, but who knows about that? Nobody. So I think that Egypt must be promoted in a different way. showing also the modern part of Egypt, because and these museums are a very good way to attract different customers, different visitors that maybe are less interested in the archaeology and more in contemporary architecture. And through the contemporary architecture, maybe they will also appreciate the archaeology.
Egypt is always keen to honor her simples and the legendary giants from the golden era in musical and artistic fields. Now, let's watch the next segment.
Based on the Ministry of Culture's plans aimed at celebrating the symbols of singing and preserving the Arabic musical heritage, the Cairo Opera House, headed by Dr. Lamia Zaid, presents a concert entitled Varieties from the Good Old Days, performed by the National Arabic Music Ensemble, led by Maestro Hazem Al-Qasabgi at the Gumhuriyya Theatre in Cairo. The concert program included a selection of works by the great stars of the good old days, such as the musician of generations, Muhammad Abdul Wahab, Kulthum, Warda, Shadia, Nagat, Muhammad Qandil, Abdul Halim Hafiz, Farid Al-Atrash, Fairuz, Muhammad Fawzi, Sayyid Mikawi, and others. From these songs and melodies are Don't Leave Me Alone, or ما تفوتنيش أنا وحدي, In the Love Nest, or في عيش الحب, I Loved You in the Summer, or حبيتك بالصيف, I'm Worried About You, or مشغول وحياتك مشغول, I Will Leave You for Time to Teach You, or هسيبك للزمن, They Envied Me, or حسدوني, You Are Listening to Me, or يلي سمعني, You Are Traveling Alone, or يا مسافر وحدك, and They Reminded Me, or فكروني. These artistic works were performed by the stars of the National Arabic Music Ensemble at the Opera House, including Reem Kamal, Hind Nahas, Sameh Munir, Ahmed Qamar, Ines Azzeddin, Bilal Fawzi, Manar Samir, and Ahmed Adil. It is worth noting that the National Arabic Music Ensemble was founded in 1989 with the aim of collecting the Arab musical and singing heritage and representing it in an advanced academic manner so that new generations can learn about it and preserve it from extinction. The National Arabic Music Ensemble is one of the most important musical bands at the Opera House, which was founded with the aim of reviving the authentic singing heritage and presenting the various traditional singing and musical forms that have all the impact on the conscience of the Egyptian people and the Arab world.
Well, dear viewers, that's all for today's episode. We'll be back next week with more segments. Until then, it's goodbye.